What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, in the last episode, we got the front end finally fitted on and working as it should with that brand new Cognito Moto stem. Now the front end's done, we need to start moving on to looking at what we're going to do with the tank and the seat, which is just one I ordered off eBay. It was about 50 quid, all bent up already. And it came, this bit here was all straight and everything. Neil Roy is in here today, playing with his GPZ, getting that all put back together. And he said he'd been thinking about this, which is nice. Surround yourself with some clever people. And he said he thinks that this bar needed a slight curve to it. So what we've done, I've been and borrowed pipe bender, which I'll put a little bit in now. Been and borrowed a pipe bender, and we've put a slight curve in this. So, as you can see here, you've got the line of this tank comes here, and then it flows with that line, drops off, and then we've increased this bend here as well to kink up. And I just think, just that small little detail that people probably won't even notice, it just sets it off. So thank you very much. It just, yeah, sets it off. But what we need to do now is hopefully get this mounted. We're thinking on this rear end here, it's just a bit long, so I'm going to chop this, and we're going to take probably, we'll start with 1 inch, offer it back together and see how it looks. Took about 1 inch out of this, and then I'm not sure how I want it to interact with the fuel tank yet. I was going to cut it short, but I'm not sure whether I want it to run into it now, as it does. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And then we need to build these braces to hold it here. And what I'm thinking, what we've been talking about, is we've got a bit of bar and bent that, and we're thinking of doing something along the lines of that. Some way, somehow. Just to flow it in, just so it's not just a piece of straight bar. Just so that it, we've tried to put a little bit of thought into it. So, we'll get this off. I'll get it on the bench, I'm going to get it all marked up. We'll get this back hoop cut and probably tack back in place with 1 inch out of it. And we'll see what that looks like. There we go, that's that shortened at the back, and it looks much better. I don't know if the camera's really picking it up, but that's that bit shortened. So what I want to do now is, I think the next thing is working out how we're going to mount this tank on. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this back edge off here back to this line, just so that I'm going to cap the back of the tank off eventually. We'll cut this bracket off the bike in here, that I think is the area I'm going to use to mount the seat anyway. And then we'll work out what we're going to do to mount this tank. And I've got an idea. Hopefully it'll work. So today we've managed to get the fuel tank mounted, which if you look here, what we've done, I mean, don't look at the welds too closely. We've got a bit of box section down here that we've cut on a bit of a crazy angle so we can get a bit of access in and just to ease it a little bit. We have bent some L pieces of steel here and welded them to the tank. Nuts are in there so we can bolt up, and done the same both sides, and that is nice and sturdy on the bike now. So next thing to do is going to be to get this seat all mounted up, but we'll do that in the morning. I'm not doing it now, so I'll see you in the morning. And here we are, back for another day, ready and raring to go and get this seat mounted on. So, what I'm thinking with mounting this seat up here, we've got this flat plate here, which is nice and sturdy, where the shock mounts. So what I'm thinking is, we're going to weld a piece of bar or tube across here, then we're going to fold and make a bracket out of some 2mm steel that'll weld to there and drop down onto there, and we'll probably put 2 nutserts in this, or tap this, and just have 2 bolts holding it into place. How is everything else going to interact with it as well though? So, we're going to be Frenching the rear brake light into the back of here, which is going to have 3 tapped holes in the back, which will have some small fixings in that will screw out to push the LED up to the outer edge of this so it's nice and flush with the outside. We'll be putting this bar obviously on here to pick this up. We're going to be capping the bottom of the seat off, maybe the whole thing, maybe to a point, just so that back here you don't see this hoop. And then on top, I'm going to cut a plate that will be shaped to this and the same size as this, that will then be, it's going to come up the front of the tank as well. We'll then be covering that in foam and be getting that upholstered. So, first things first, we need to get this square and level in the bike, work this front dimension out, cut ourselves a tube and try and bird's mouth it, which we're just going to have to do with a grinder, and then, who knows. Let's just start, we'll see how we get on, and hopefully it turns out alright. There we go. That is that bit cut into there. Fits nicely inside there. We've got that hook on there to get it in the right place. So I've not got an expensive tube cutter or anything like that. All I've got is a 25mm hole saw in a drill, in a vise, and we just tried to get it in about the right place. Now, it wasn't A1 perfect when we did it, but we've cleaned it out with the grinder. It fits in, it's nice. So I'm going to clean that out a little bit more. We'll work out exactly where it needs to go, get everything square and plumb in the frame, make sure it's bang on. We'll get that tacked in, then we'll start making this front little drop down bracket that's going to bolt into the plate on the bike. That's the front, nearly done. There's that central bar tacked in then. I've cut these legs to the same length. We're probably going to end up cutting a bit of this away at the end anyway, but the next thing we're going to do now is going to make this L-shaped bracket here that will go down onto this. I'm going to make this out of 2mm, I think, just in hope. I can't see it bending or anything, and I've purposefully made this tube as close to that bracket as I can so that the upstand isn't a lot. I think it'll be fine, so let's do that now. That's that welded on then. Made a bit of a bracket up here. Welding leaves quite a lot to be desired, but it's on, it's pretty strong. That's on there, so now what we need to do is start on these support bars for here. The first bit I'm going to start with is I'm going to cut myself some little pieces of this tube that will weld a plate into the bottom of, into the end of, a piece of 2mm steel on the end, drill a hole in the middle, and then we can bolt those both sides, and that gives us, we've then got the base for this end, and we've already got the base for this end with the seat hoop. So we'll, yeah, make those front bits, drill the holes in, get them bolted on, and then we've got a good starting point to be able to work out where these want to go. there are those two sort of sockets welded on then. So what we need to do now is bend another one of these exactly the same as this. There we go. Brackets are cut and made, and I think they look absolutely awesome and really help with the flow of everything. I don't want to go putting straight lines on anything. Let's get a few tacks on this, and then we'll be able to sit on it and see what we think the seating position looks like, which will then lead us on to the next thing, sorting out these rear sets. And that right there, kids, is where everything went a little bit wrong. So, as you can see, bit of a bad eye. So I was welding the seat frame on, and the welder was just playing up a bit. It kept, it was spitting, the wire was joining between the outer cone and all sorts, and earthing itself out and just not working properly. So, lifted my mask up, grabbed the end of the welder, cleaned the end of it out. Wire was sticking out a little bit too far. So I did what I've done hundreds and hundreds of times, snipped the end of the wire off to trim it down, so we're hopefully going to be a bit closer and hopefully get a bit of a better weld. Apparently that was aimed directly at my face, and the welding wire that I'd snipped off shot from the end of the welding torch straight into my eye, which was still warm. So in the end stuck to my eyeball because it was hot and melted to my eyeball. My eyelid came over the top. I had to then pull the piece of wire off my eye. And yeah, panic set in because I couldn't see a thing out of my eye. Went to hospital on Saturday night, and they were very concerned by it. I'll put a picture in now. This is my eye when they'd put some dye in. And I've basically got a burn over half of my eye, and the bit you see out of, I'm no doctor, I know what I'm talking about, what it's called, but the bit that you see out of, which was meaning that half the vision out of that eye, well, at that point, my whole eye I couldn't see out of. Eye clinic was shut, so I got sent home. Went back yesterday, which was Monday, to see the eye specialist. Was there for about 7 hours, x-rays, poked, prodded, many different things put in my eye, and I've been told that I've done a lot of damage to my eye. Luckily, it is just the outer part of my eye. It's not damaged the cornea or iris or whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called. All of that looks to be okay. X-ray showed that there's no metal left in my eye either. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll make pretty much as much of a full recovery as you can. May still never get full vision back in this eye correctly without wearing glasses. But if that is what it takes, that's what it takes. I will still take that as a bit of a win. So kids, if you're ever working on your motorbike, and even when you're welding with a welding mask on, goggles on, under your welding mask. I will always be wearing goggles now because you do not want this pain and you do not want this to happen to you. So, that's what's happened. The bike, I've got to say, I think the seat's looking mega. Welds are absolutely terrible, but I was only ever really tacking it together just to get a bit of an idea of what was going on. And like I say, the welder was playing up quite a lot, so I had quite a hard time actually getting it to weld, and I don't know why. I need to sit and look at the welder and work out what's gone on. But that is that little part of this done. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll have got something out of it. And if the one thing you have got out of it is wear glasses while you're doing anything in your workshop, then I'll be satisfied. But guys, we'll leave this one there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not sure when I'm going to be back. I've been told to take it easy for a couple of weeks and try and keep my eyes clean as I can, because infection is the possible thing that might set in next. So we'll leave that one there then, guys. Until next time, enjoy.